Hi team, I hope you're all well. Today we're going to be doing a video that for some reason I always manage to skip filming. We're going to do a little bit of a reshuffle in this room. This is my library slash office. I'm currently sat at my desk, but as you can see behind me are my books. And it's not necessarily due a little bit of a refresh. It will have a little bit of a decor refresh in the winter reset, which will be coming up during November. But for the most part, the reason why this has come about is this shelf next to me, which I will talk you through in a second. But in general, this library could do with a little bit of a tidy up anyway. It's looking a bit of a mess and it could do with a tidy up, but I also want to get this shelf done, which has inspired this video. So I usually end up starting a reshuffle in my library without having the camera on, and before I know it, I'm done and I haven't filmed any of it. So this time I have been thinking about doing this for a while actually, and this time I have forward thought and decided to film said video. So we're going to do exactly that. So let me just talk you very quickly through this shelf and exactly what is going on with it and what my plan is. Okay, so this is me stepped back from this shelf. As you can see, there is my desk, looking a bit messy at the moment, but this is the shelf. And for the most part, we have a lot of Daisy and Bee stuff on here. So at the very, very top, I have put the epic fantasy that at the moment, I'm not currently reading, but I want to make sure I don't forget about the books. I was going to put them under my bed, but I made the decision not to do that in the end. And I have put them on this very top shelf. So they're not in my eye line at all. I don't feel guilty about ignoring them as much anymore because they're not in my eye line. I'm not looking at them all the time, but they're still in my eyesight enough that I remember that I have them. So that is what is going on the top shelf. On the shelf where Grumpy is, which is Andy's teddy, is at the moment I put on there what I am currently reading. So I am starting this video in October. That is currently not what I'm currently reading, what I've read. That is currently what I've read so far in October. This video is probably going to take me several days, so that will change. The next shelf down, these are all books that I'm currently partway through. Really should get back to. I've just stored that there for the time being. These are for a video project, couple of video projects in November. The next shelf down is bookmarks, some envelopes, paper for the printer, and then my colouring stuff. And the next shelf down is notepads for the shop, and then we have a bunch of envelopes again. The bottom shelf will probably stay as it is. It's just kind of storage for the time being. But I am sick to death of seeing the shelf like this. It's such a mess. It used to be used on the regular when the shop was more regularly being used. Let me sit down and talk to you. It used to be used a lot more regular when the shop was being used a lot more regular. Daisy and Bee shop. Remember that? The shop is still open. You can still buy stuff. However, because of changes in regulations and stuff, we can no longer ship to the EU and we can no longer ship to the US. Which is approximately, I would say, 75 to 80% of our customer base, which is just fantastic. So we have slowed down significantly with the shop. We haven't made any new designs because I refuse to get any more stock in this room until we shift some of the stock we've already got. But these are existing designs that for the most part people have already gotten. So we're in a little bit of a catch-22 here. We're unsure what to do with this, and it's something that we're probably going to revisit in the new year and make a decision on, myself and Jade. But for right now, I am sick to death of seeing the shelf like this. It's driving me nuts. It seems like wasted space because this stuff is not being used. So I would like to change some things around. So here is my thought process. Let me shift over. See the state of this chair? There is a half-eaten shortbread on there. That's so embarrassing. Anyway, we're going to get real with this. This Jurgen needs to go back in there. It's Andy's. It needs to go back in the spare room. It moved back into here because Jade was sleeping in there last week, and we move it out if someone is staying in there because it's, for some reason, apparently that is safer than being in there. It's just annoying on my behalf. So that needs to go back in there. It'll probably be the first thing I do. But for the most part, you can't see this shelf right down in the bottom corner, the bottom shelf, you cannot see it. Seems like the perfect place for me to put as much of this Daisy and Bee stuff on there. Probably a lot of the stock will go on there, maybe the envelopes. I haven't decided yet what's going to go where, but a lot of it can be hidden, I reckon, and then the rest will probably go on this one, where you could probably see Heartstopper right here. The rest will probably go on that one. And then what I'm going to do then is take off what I've read. That will go, I'll find another home for that. I'll take off what I've read. I will take off the books I'm part way through. And then I'm giving myself 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shelves back. So I get 5 more shelves for books. Outstanding, I know, right? What I think I'm going to do is actually move my fantasy and sci-fi off of this shelf. Move it over here. So it's right next to me. The other reason I'm doing this is that I spent approximately 4 days sat in that chair while Jade stayed here, because she was sat at the desk for the most part hosting sprints and doing work on her computer at my desk. So I sat there and I was sick to death of this being my view, because it's not a nice view. So I thought it would be really nice if this could be books. So move my fantasy and sci-fi over. I think then what I'm going to do is move my middle grade right up to the top. I don't need to keep looking at that. That's not my problem anymore. So move my middle grade right up to the top. It will actually make sense. I've got middle grade right up at the top on the second shelf, which is my thriller and horror shelf. So move that right up. And then I think I will do, because at the moment in those bottom 2 shelves is graphic novels. So I think I will probably do non-fiction on the second shelf and then graphic novels on the rest of them. I haven't fully figured it out yet. I haven't fully thought my way through it yet, but I think that's what I'm going to do. I then will use the rose gold TBR cart that we did a reset on. I did a reset with my patrons on this for 31 books in 31 days. I am going to reset that because obviously 31 books in 31 days will be coming to an end at the end of this month. And I'm going to reset it. So in the top will stay my TBR for the month, which I suppose, in theory, my books could go back in there once I've read them. So as books are coming out being read, books could go back in that as I'm reading them. The middle will probably end up being like my 10 before the end. I still have some books outstanding on 25 books in 2025. So that will probably end up going in the middle. And then the bottom, when I do my winter reset and TBR, I will put my winter TBR in the bottom. And I think that's how I'm going to do that. The books that I'm in the middle of, I will need to stack somewhere right in my eyesight, because I will forget that that's a thing that I'm doing and I need to get them finished. So they need to be right in my line of sight. So I haven't decided what to do with that yet, but that is the thing that I also need to figure out. And then I think the one other thing that I need to do, this is almost actually not just a shelf reshuffle, it's including a shelf reshuffle, but this is going to be like a library reset, if you like. But the other thing that I do need to do is, while me and Jade were up here last week while she was here, it's fucking freezing in this room, and I've never fully figured out why. She made a very good point. I have these 2 shelves right in front of my radiator. See that? It bends right round the bay window, and I have shelves right in front. So the heat isn't going anywhere. I think what I'm going to do is try and reduce it to just 1, because I need somewhere to put my printer anyway, and it's handy having this here. So I think I'm just going to reduce it to 1. And I think what I'm also going to do is put these books down here, put this one, because this is 2 of these. I used to have just 1, but Tara took that one for the kids' playroom. So I moved these 2 in here. So this is good because I can split one up. And what I'm going to do, I think, is actually shuffle it so that it's in, like, it's on an angle and more of the radiator is accessible then to get the air out. But I think I'm going to put the books down here. I keep them here because they don't get any sun damage on their special sprayed edges. And I turn the ones around that I've read so I can see the sprayed edges. Anyway, and then the other one I might put on the landing, and I can keep these in it then. And it's somewhat tidy. I don't know if it will stay there permanently or not, but I need to get it out of this room because so far this lot is preventing the heat from getting out into this room, and it's fucking freezing all the time. So I need to do that as well. And I think that might be it. I'm fairly certain that might be it anyway. I also have another TBR cart over in that corner behind the door. You see it? That blue one? I may faff with that as well. I don't know. We'll see. Because I have at the moment my cozy translated fiction books on there. I have a little bit of manga, and then I have middle grade right at the bottom. So again, that may be able to be fucked around with. Maybe I take my translated fiction off and put that on my shelves with my non-fiction, and then maybe I put the manga in the middle, and then I can use the top for the books that I'm in the middle of, or books that I've read, and keep the books that I'm in the middle of on my TBR cart, if you like. So keep the TBR cart for TBR and keep the books I've read in the top of there, maybe. We'll see. But this is essentially going to be a project that's going to span over a couple of days, I think. So I will end up wearing different stuff throughout. I will look a little bit different. We'll see how this goes. But for the first thing that I am going to do is move Jurgen Klopp out of this room because I'm sick to death of seeing him. And I think I might do my gold TBR cart as well today. I think that's the other thing I'm going to do because I actually need to get these books off of this chair. And that is my November TBR and my 10 before the end. So I need to do that as well. So I think that's what I'm going to do first. And then we will see how the rest goes. So, yeah, let's get on with it. That was a really long intro. I just wanted to talk you through exactly what it is I'm going to be doing. And that was my TBR exporting. So, yeah, let's get on with some reshuffling, shall we? Hello, good morning. It is the next day. I did manage to do the TBR cart yesterday. I think it's looking pretty good. In the top, I have put my November TBR. I don't know if you can see it over there. In the top, I have put my November TBR, but I've also kept in a couple of books. It is still October, and I do still have 8 days of October left. So I have left some books in there that I'm interested in getting to before October ends. And anything else then that I don't get to can go back on the shelves. So that is the plan with the top. The middle still has the 3 books that I have left for 12 books from 12 friends. I'm doing pretty good with that, but we only have 2 months of the year left, and I need to get those done. So have any of them ended up on my TBR for November? No. So I need to get those done. And then my 10, have any of them ended up on my 10 before the end? No, they haven't. And then my 10 before the end has gone in there as well. So yeah, I might actually try and prioritise Just Like Home for October. It is a haunted house story. It would fit very, very well. So if I could get to that before the month ends, that would be great. I'll only have 2 books left. I have previously soft DNF'd Anxious People by Frederick Bateman. I don't know if I'm bothered about going back to it in all honesty, but... And then the only other one I've got left is Immortal Dark by Tigist Germa, which is a vampire story. So yeah, I don't know if I'm going to manage the other half of my 25 books in 2025. Definitely running behind with that one. It was a bad call to do Buzzwordathon as the books picking for that, because I haven't kept up with it at all. So yeah, anyway, I did do the TBI cart. The bottom is now free. I can't remember what I said I would put in there. What did I say I would put in there? Is it books that I'm finishing? Books that I read throughout the month? Or was that in there? Actually, it would make more sense to put those in there, because the whole point in putting that TBR cart there and putting my TBR in it is that those books rotate regularly so they don't get sun damaged. So it would make sense to put my actual what I've read in the bottom. That would make a lot of sense. So I'll probably end up doing that. So that's what I need to do with this top shelf. You're sitting on the shelf we're gonna sort out today. And then I've got the books that I need to remember to continue on with. So I don't know, we'll play with it. We'll see what happens. I need to remember to continue on with these. I have a stack here that I need to remember to read for November. Couldn't fit that in there because I still have books I want to read for October. Maybe I take those out and stack them somewhere else for the time being, but we'll see. And then obviously I want to get this shelf sorted. So I don't know if it's best. It's probably best, actually. I don't know if it's best to clear out the bottom two shelves on here and stack those graphic novels, and then while I'm taking the Daisy and Bee stuff off here, I can immediately put it down there and then it's done. And then once I've taken everything off here, I can give these shelves a wipe down and I can then move stuff over immediately. So I feel like that makes the most sense without making the most mess. Otherwise, I'm going to take everything off here and that's going to have to be put on the floor. Then I'm going to take those graphic novels off. They're going to have to be put on the floor. And then I can move these over and then I can start stacking the bottom and putting the graphic novels on. It will end up a bit of a mess. So yeah, I need to think my way through this logically. That is what I need to do. So that's the plan. Jan. Yeah, I think while I'm doing this, I'm going to continue listening to Fantastic Land by Mike Bokoven. That's what I'm reading currently in my weekly vlog, which will go up before this one, I'm fairly certain. So I'm going to continue listening to that, enjoying it so far. It's a great audiobook listen. I don't need to follow along with the book, which is fantastic news. So that is the plan. I don't know what time Andy's coming back. I don't know if I'll get a chance to get all of this done, but I'm hoping that I can at least get this shelf done. Maybe I will have to come back and do the one in the window at a later date, but he's out with his mum at the moment, so I want to get on with this. I do have my bookstore t-shirt on today. I thought it would be appropriate. We're not in the bookstore, but we're in the library, so... And it's a t-shirt, so I shouldn't get too sweaty, which would be fantastic because I have just had a shower. So, yeah, without further ado, should we get on with this and get it done and dusted?
Quietly protective of my heart to reassure that I couldn't break to pieces and be left alone once more. If you hadn't been so patient, you'd be easy to ignore. You put up with all my till you didn't anymore. And now I stand here calling at your door. Oh, now I stand here calling at your door. Yeah, I'm yours anywhere you want. Yeah, I'm yours, and now we're singing. I have made a lot of mistakes. I have been too self-involved, been protective of my feelings, but somehow you made me fall. You got underneath the surface and you shattered every wall. And I know I got that feeling, there's no question anymore. And now I stand here calling at your door. Oh, now I stand here calling at your door. Yeah, I'm yours anywhere you want. Yeah, I'm yours, and now we're singing. pieces and be left alone once more. You got underneath the surface and you shattered every wall. And I know I got that feeling, there's no question anymore. And now I stand here calling at your door. Oh, now I stand here calling at your door. Yeah, I'm yours, anywhere you want it. Yeah, I'm yours, and now we're singing. And now I stand here calling at your door.
I don't wanna let you down. It's the only thing I think about every morning. You know my life ain't figured out, but I promise if you stick around it'll never get boring. We'll spend nights, cheap red wine, look at flats even though we can't afford them. I don't wanna let you down, I don't wanna lose you now. Will you stay even when you wanna walk away? When times get bad, we can learn to love what we have. I don't wanna let you down, I don't wanna let you down, I don't wanna let you down, I don't wanna mess around. You're the only one I want there at the end of my story. It's the only thing I figured out, 'cause everything else in my life without you would be boring. And we'll spend nights, cheap red wine, look at flats even though we can't afford them. I don't wanna let you down, I don't wanna lose you now, I don't wanna let you down, I don't wanna let you down. We'll spend nights, cheap red wine, look at flats even though we can't afford them. I don't wanna let you down, will you stay even when you wanna walk away? When times get bad, we can learn to love what we have. I don't wanna let you down, I don't wanna let you down, I don't wanna let you down, I don't wanna let you down. We'll spend nights, cheap red wine, look at flats even though we can't afford them. I don't wanna let you down, I don't wanna let you down, no, 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 I don't wanna let you down.
Okay, some time has passed. How nice does it look? I'm not obsessed, but it's looking better than it was. And I love having my Dungeon Crawler Carl books here. And I will obviously get another 2 of the Empire of Dawn when that comes. And I did put my little novellas down here. I wanted to keep my hardbacks all together. Up here looks really nice. Let me give you a quick budges. I just love these new covers for the Bone season. So pretty. But yeah, I don't hate it. I don't love it right now, but I like it a lot. And it's going to be a much nicer view to look at while I'm reading in my reading chair. I did also shuffle with these other shelves just a little bit more. So I took the middle grade that I had at the top of the thriller and horror shelves, and I moved it down to where the middle grade is on the next shelf over. And I actually moved all the thrillers and horrors that I kept up a shelf, and everything else has moved up a shelf, and it's given me a lot more room now for my paperbacks, which is nice because I had a lot and I was having to stack them on top of the rows, which I'm having to do with a lot of romance. I could do maybe with another clear out, but we'll see. So yeah, it's looking good. I think I like it. I think I love it. I'm going to have to sit with it for a little bit because it's a new change. I don't particularly love change. So I'm going to have to sit with it a little bit. I did debate whether or not this shelf should actually be my horror and thriller shelf, and maybe I should put my fantasy and sci-fi back in, like, in that corner now, or move all of my middle grade and non-fiction and translated fiction and those graphic novels over and bring fantasy and sci-fi back on the shelf it was already on. But I'm going to sit with it for a little bit, see how this looks, and then make a decision on what to do with it. Because I would fit everything on there from the horror and thriller section, and it would all fit on the other side as well. So I could make it work, but we'll see. I'm going to sit with it for a little bit and see how I feel. I haven't done the bookshelf in the window. My ears are hurting from the headphones. Does anybody else get this? I can't wear the earphones that sit in your ear because my ears reject them. I don't know how to explain it, but my ears do not like it, and I don't like the sensation. And then the overheads are comfortable, but because I don't know if it's just because of this piercing or what, maybe I need to be taking my earrings out when I have them on, but because I have, it's not my helix, I don't think, whatever the fuck this piercing is, because I have this, it sits right on the piercing and it really hurts, and after like 20 minutes my ears are killing. So I have listened to some more of Fantastic Land, and I have made it a decent chunk in. Actually, I'm now over 200, oh no, I'm not quite, I'm 193 pages in. I don't have long left at all, just over an hour. I'm going to carry on listening to that, but I don't know if I'm going to do that bookshelf today. I probably should, and then it's done and I can get the video edited. But I just don't know if I have the willpower. I think I've run out of charge, so we'll see. I might do. He's only just got to IKEA with his mum, so maybe I just see it as an opportunity to try and get through as much of my book as I possibly can. Maybe I'll try and tidy up these shelves just a little bit more. I don't know. But yeah, so I am happy with how this looks. It does look great, and I am happy with it, but I'm going to sit with it, see how I feel about it, and then, oh, it's raining. And then we'll see. So yeah, the only thing left to do in this room, I suppose, other than just tidy, I did do a general hoover, but other than just tidy, is to sort that bay window out. I definitely need to get that sorted, because right now I can't feel the heat from the radiator. So I need to, Jay made a really good point, and I didn't think it was making that much of a difference, but it must be, because I can't feel the heat at all in this room when the heating's on. So I need to get that sorted, but I might do that at a later date. We'll see. I might faff with it now, move the books around, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling. You'll see it in the next clip anyway. But yeah, glad that I've done this. I'm glad I've made today the day to do this. And I have made it a priority. So yay for that.
Another rainy afternoon, I don't know what I'm to do. I just miss you more than anything. It's way too quiet in the house, I'm just wasted on the couch, 'cause I don't wanna feel anything. Wish you'd stayed here beside me. This isn't how it's supposed to be. Wish you'd stayed here right with me. I can't shake that feeling that we said goodbye too soon. I know the hour's getting late, I shouldn't sit here contemplating. I just can't stop thinking about us. I won't forget a single thing, from drunken nights to Sunday mornings, and how you smiled at me. Wish you'd stayed here beside me. This isn't how it's supposed to be. Wish you'd stayed here right with me. I can't shake that feeling said goodbye too soon.
Okay, hello. It is the next day again, so this has literally taken me like 3 days to do, but the job is complete. I have put the other cube on the landing. I didn't know how Andy was going to react to that, but he actually quite likes it, so that's good. I could do with struggles. I could do with going through each of the different cubes. I've gone through them ever so slightly, like top layer, but I could do with going through them properly. If I could empty one of them and maybe put like bathroom stuff in one of them, that would be great. We do have very limited storage in our bathroom because it's very small, so that could be great if we could do that. But I may put that in the winter reset. Maybe that's a job I could do in the winter reset, but Andy quite likes it being there, so which is great news. I thought he was going to hate it, but we do have quite a large landing, so it seems a waste not to use some of the space. He was on about maybe moving the other one as well, my other cube that's housing my special editions, but I said to him, where am I going to put my printer if I move that? And he was like, put it on your desk. And I was like, have you seen how big that printer is? Absolutely not. I could potentially move it on top of the drawers in here, but I actually quite like that there. It's not blocking too much because I've put it on a tilt as well. It's not blocking too much of the radiator anymore. I do think I will get some heat off that radiator now, which is fantastic news. And I specifically tilted it that way round rather than the opposite end, so I would get the heat nearest to me, because the sun comes like up here and comes across, so it's beaming in through this window constantly, so that window doesn't get it still gets sunlight in, obviously natural sunlight, but it doesn't get a great deal of sunlight in all the time, so my edges should be okay, but I may rotate them on occasion or swap the books out for other books. So far they've been fine because they've not seen any sunlight at all, but I can see the edges a lot more now that they've been moved, so I will have to keep my eye on those and just make sure they're okay. But I do feel like there's actually a lot more sun coming in from that window now as well, which is really nice. I've not touched my blinds at all. They're still at like half mast down the window, but I feel like there's a lot more sun coming in. My intention is to get the horizontal blinds. Is it Venetians? I don't know if that's the word or if that's the vertical ones, but the horizontal blinds, the slats, my intention is to get some of those at some point, but obviously we're saving for the wedding at the moment, and house stuff isn't a priority unless it is a priority, which that isn't. The blinds work fine, but my intention is to get some of those just to give the books a little extra layer of protection. So yeah, I'm actually really happy with how this has come out. The library's feeling a lot more tidier, it's feeling a lot more clean. It helps that I've done a hoover. I did only do a hoover the other week before Jade came, but to be honest, it's been getting hoovered a lot more regular than I usually do. But I'm just really liking the way that it has come out, everything that's happened with the room. So I actually really love this now as well. The fact that I've come in this morning fresh, Andy's had a look at it, he really likes it. The fact that I've come in fresh this morning with it and then seen it again for the first time, really loving it. Actually, I love the colour on it because it's not too much colour, because it is my fantasy and sci-fi books. Some of them are quite dark, but there is, the Matt Dinnerman books just give it that extra layer of colour, and also the Bone season as well. And I just love the little pops of colour everywhere. The Legend Born series with the purples and reds, stunning, is so pretty. So I'm actually really happy with how this has come out. I may do a reshuffle on it at some point, but we'll see. I'm really liking it. And then I've just got a little section here next to, I've already shown a little bit of an over thing, but I'll show it again while I'm talking. Next to where I've actually found the Mistborn Era 1 and Elantris, I found them tucked behind some other books. Instead of tucking them behind again, I've actually just left them out because I've got the space for them. They may end up tucked behind again. But next to that, I've just left a stack of books that I still want to read for October, and also my literal actively current reads as well, so that it's easier for me to just scooch down while I'm making an update here and pick them up, and then I can store them there at night. They're not sitting on my desk in my way, which is great. That's where my books usually sit, is right here on my desk, and it's always in my way. So yeah, I feel like that's worked out really well. The TBR cards are looking great. I've got all my colouring stuff in the top. I have a book that I'm thinking about doing a giveaway for, and then the middle one is for the books that I have finished reading, and the bottom just has some manga in it. And then this TBR card in the corner has my current November TBR in it. So next month's, well, I don't know when this video is going up, but November's TBR in it. In the middle, I have my 10 before the end and any books outstanding for 12 books from 12 friends, one of which I'm currently reading. And in the bottom, I have books that I'm partway through that I'm not actively currently reading right now, and then any arcs or books that have been gifted to me by publishers so that I remember to prioritise them, which I don't always do. My apologies. Had a dream last night that I finished a book. I even remember the end of the story, and I've woken up this morning to great disappointment that I haven't actually in fact finished that book. I've not even started it. It's the third in a series and I haven't even read book 2. So yeah, if you wanted to know what my dreams were last night, it's because I've just looked at book 2. It was The Damned by Harper Elwoods. I just had a dream that I finished it. But the ending is very different to the actual end of the book though, because I don't even know who the characters are in that book. Anyway, on a tangent, I'm just really glad that I've done this. I'm really hoping the video comes out okay. And yeah, I'm just glad I've done this reset. I may do another one in the future. Like I say, I'm thinking about moving these drawers over there, but I think it could piss me off. It doesn't bother me so much about the TBR cart overhanging because I can move it, you know, it's movable. But it annoys it. I think it will annoy me. The only reason the TBR cart isn't in the bay window is because I can't put anything on it that would change colour, like books, for example. It defeats the object. So that's the only reason it's not in the bay window. But I put it there because it's behind. That's why I used to put my TBR there, because then the colour wouldn't fade on my books. But I'm rotating the books every month. So over in that window, as you can see right now, it gets a lot of sun. Which is why I got to be careful with my books. Yeah, I don't know. There may be a second phase to this where I move these drawers. We'll see. Or I might just clear them out. Maybe that's the second phase. Maybe that's something else I can do in the winter reset, is clear them out, go through some stuff, and try and condense Daisy and B into just a handful of drawers maybe. I've got some deeper drawers at the bottom that I literally store shit in. So maybe I could condense Daisy and B into those chunkier drawers at the bottom, and I can use the rest then for actual storage, because the rest, my stuff just gets thrown about the library because I haven't got storage for it, because it's all Daisy and B storage. So maybe I could do that. We'll see. But I hope you have enjoyed this video. Chat to me in the comments down below. Do you think... I'm interested to know, actually, if you think that maybe this shelf next to me should be like my horrors and thrillers or something else. I actually think this would look stunning as like a romance shelf. It'd be so colourful, like a standalone romance shelf. But I don't like the thought of splitting all my romance up, because these 3 shelves, my 2.5, are actually all of my romance and romantasy and dark romance and all of that, like all of my romance, whatever category it falls under, other than the bottom shelf. Bottom 2 shelves, they have manga on them. That's the other thing I could do, is make a manga shelf, but I don't know if I've got enough manga to do that, and I don't encourage buying more. So yeah, I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below if you think I should do something else with this, or if it's pretty enough as it is and I should leave it as it is. I'm actually starting to really enjoy it now. I'm seeing it a couple of days more, like the next day. So let me know what your favourite thing has been about this video, and I will see you in whatever comes next. Bye for now.